John chapter 11 is one of the most powerful chapters in the Gospel of John. It centers on the miracle of the resurrection of Lazarus, one of Jesus' most significant signs. This chapter not only demonstrates Jesus' power over death, but also deepens our understanding of his identity as the resurrection and the life. The chapter also marks a pivotal turning point in Jesus' ministry, as it leads to increasing opposition from the religious leaders, ultimately setting the stage for his own death. In verses 1 through 16, the chapter begins by introducing Lazarus, a man from Bethany, the brother of Mary and Martha. Lazarus is sick. Jesus hears about Lazarus' illness, but delays his visit to Bethany for 2 more days, even though he loves the family. Jesus tells his disciples that this illness will not end in death, but that it is for God's glory, so that the Son of God may be glorified through it. Jesus further explains that Lazarus is dead, and he is glad he was not there to prevent it because it will help his disciples believe. Jesus speaks about Lazarus as being in a kind of sleep and that he is going to wake him up. The disciples misunderstand and think he means natural sleep, so Jesus clarifies that Lazarus has died. Jesus then states that he is going to Bethany, and despite the danger, he proceeds with courage. Thomas responds by saying, "Let us also go, that we may die with him." In verses 17 through 37, Jesus arrives in Bethany. Lazarus has already been in the tomb for 4 days. Martha comes out to meet Jesus and expresses her faith, saying, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." However, she also expresses hope, saying, "But I know that even now God will give you whatever you ask." Jesus responds by telling Martha that her brother will rise again. Martha misunderstands, thinking that he is referring to the future resurrection at the end of times. Jesus then says, "I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live, even though they die, and whoever lives by believing in me will never die. Do you believe this?" Martha replies, "Yes, Lord, I believe that you are the Messiah, the Son of God, who is to come into the world." After speaking with Martha, Jesus asks for Mary to come. When Mary comes and sees Jesus, she falls at his feet, saying the same thing Martha had said. "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." When Jesus sees her weeping, and the others who had come with her also weeping, he is deeply moved and troubled. Jesus weeps, showing his deep compassion and empathy for the pain of those around him. Some people in the crowd question why Jesus, who had healed the blind man, could not have prevented Lazarus from dying. In verses 38 through 44, Jesus comes to the tomb, a cave with a stone laid across the entrance. He tells them to take away the stone. Martha expresses concern, saying that there will be a bad odor because Lazarus has been dead for 4 days. Jesus responds, "Did I not tell you that if you believe, you will see the glory of God?" The stone is removed, and Jesus prays aloud to the Father, thanking him for hearing his prayer. He says he is praying aloud not for himself, but for the benefit of those standing there, so that they may believe that the Father sent him. Then, with a loud voice, Jesus calls, "Lazarus, come out!" The dead man comes out, his hands and feet wrapped in strips of linen, and his face wrapped with a cloth. This miracle demonstrates Jesus' power over death, showing that he is the resurrection and the life. In verses 45 through 53, many of the Jews who had come to Mary and seen what Jesus did believed in him. However, some of them went to the Pharisees and reported what Jesus had done, and this leads to a meeting of the Sanhedrin, the Jewish ruling council. The Pharisees and chief priests are alarmed by the growing popularity of Jesus and fear that his actions will lead to the Romans coming and destroying their nation. They are concerned about losing their power. Caiaphas, the high priest that year, speaks cynically, saying, "You do not realize that it is better for you that one man die for the people than that the whole nation perishes." This is prophetic, though Caiaphas does not realize that he is unknowingly speaking about Jesus' sacrificial death for the nation and all of humanity. The council decides that Jesus must die, and from that moment on they begin plotting to kill him. In verses 54 through 57, because of the growing danger, Jesus withdraws to a region near the desert called Ephraim, where he stays with his disciples. The Jewish Passover is near, and many people from the region go to Jerusalem for the festival. They wonder if Jesus will come to the festival, as the religious leaders had been looking for him and had given orders that anyone who knew of his whereabouts should report it. There are 5 key themes in John chapter 11:1. Jesus as the resurrection and the life. Jesus' declaration that he is the resurrection and the life is central. He offers eternal life not only to those who believe in him, but also to those who physically die in him. Faith in Jesus brings resurrection. 2. Jesus' compassion and empathy. Jesus' weeping at the tomb of Lazarus shows his compassion and identification with human suffering. His deep emotional response highlights his empathy and the reality of the human condition he shares with us. 3. Faith in Jesus and his power. The miracle of raising Lazarus is a sign that Jesus has power over death and is the source of eternal life. It calls for belief in him, as Martha's confession of faith exemplifies. 4. Opposition to Jesus and the plot to kill him. The raising of Lazarus intensifies the opposition against Jesus. The religious leaders, fearing the loss of their power, plot to kill him, marking a significant turning point in the story leading to Jesus' eventual crucifixion. 5. The glory of God. The miracle is performed for the glory of God. Jesus constantly emphasizes that the events happening are meant to reveal God's glory, and his power is demonstrated through this miracle of raising Lazarus from the dead. John chapter 11 is a powerful chapter about life, death, and resurrection. It highlights the hope that Jesus offers through his identity as the resurrection and the life, not only promising eternal life after death, but offering a new kind of life now. The chapter also emphasizes the importance of faith, as Martha's declaration of faith plays a pivotal role in the miracle. The tragic irony of the religious leaders plotting to kill Jesus after this miraculous act shows the blindness of their hearts to the truth that was right before them. It is a call for us to consider how we respond to Jesus in our own lives, whether in faith or rejection. It is not as simple as do you have faith in Jesus or do you reject him. It is about your words, thoughts, and deeds. The things you say, think, and do reflect your faith in or rejection of Jesus. It is easy to say I believe. It is another thing to surrender everything to Jesus. We are challenged to ask ourselves whether we reject Jesus or have faith in him in every moment of our lives.